The following story is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
I used to be a prison guard a few years ago. We installed some facial tracking software that was in the surveillance cameras so we can make sure we're keeping track of the right people. One of the inmates had panicked when they were cleaning an unused solitary confinement cell. The inmate just kept saying over and over again, "Told me to stop cleaning, I can't clean anymore, please tell him to stop." The captain and I thought that was very weird that he would say that. Cleaning the unused solitary confinement cells is usually a more desirable job in the prison. It's really easy, and nobody at all pays attention to you. But this inmate kept insisting that he be moved out of that job. He kept saying that there was a ghost in the cell with him. We all thought he was crazy, but he was driving us all insane because he kept saying that over and over again. So I let the captain know that he should do something about it. The first thing my captain did is he ordered an officer to go with me to check the footage to see if we saw anything. I thought this was a waste of time, but I had to do it because he was a higher ranking official than I was. So I met with the other officer in the security room. It's one of our rooms that has a bunch of screens in it so we can play back any footage, or we can also keep track of what's going on throughout the prison. So we scrolled through the footage when the inmate was cleaning out the cell. We were doing that for about 5 minutes, and then the computer just kept freezing. It was the weirdest thing because it just kept freezing over and over again, and then we just went ahead and reset it so we could stop dealing with this and get this over with. So as the computer cuts back on, we're just waiting. We get back in and we're scrolling through, and we get to a part where the facial recognition software picks up something. It picks up 2 faces in the cell. While the inmate was cleaning the cell and he stared directly into the camera, the facial recognition software picked up somebody right behind him. Never in my life have I ever seen something like this, except those videos on YouTube where people's Ring cameras pick up random things. I thought this was really weird, so I went ahead and told my captain what had happened, and it was decided that the inmate would be transferred immediately at no penalty. To this day, I go back and I check the footage in that room time and time again. The following 3 months of me working there, I didn't see anything else that was out of the ordinary. I thought it was so creepy, and that cell actually stayed vacant the last 3 months that I worked there. Like I said, I don't work there anymore, but that's really weird, and I feel bad for the next inmate who has to live in that cell. I used to work night shift as a guard in prison. One night I was doing my rounds and I made my way to the kitchen. It was dark in there, so I turned the lights on, and it was completely empty. I walk out and continue my rounds. I go on my phone and I scroll through Instagram, and a few hours pass and nothing really happens. It's kind of a straightforward job. I just make my rounds and ensure everything is locked up and all the checkpoints have been met. So I start to get a little hungry, so I go back to the kitchen to grab something to eat. One good perk about this job is we got to eat as much as we want because we were in the middle of nowhere, so they provide food for all of the security guards. I immediately notice, as I go back to the kitchen, the lights are off, and I don't remember turning the lights off. So I turn the lights on, and the first thing that I see is a knife just laying out open in the empty kitchen. Now this is really bad because it means that our 2 safety checkpoints have been missed. All of the sharp objects are supposed to be locked up and counted for at the end of the inmate's shift. So the assumption is it may have been very deliberate. You know, a weapon left out for someone to attack somebody else. It was a very creepy discovery seeing that lone knife there laying on the counter, even though I was just in there not too long ago and it was completely empty. Everything else was perfectly clean. My head was on a very dramatic swivel, and I went straight to the captain's office. I immediately reported this, and I thought about it for a few minutes after reporting it. How lucky I am that somebody must have changed their mind about attacking me. Ever since then, I left that job. I didn't feel safe there, and I wasn't taking any chances.